Welcome back. Get ready to turn on dark mode. We're here to talk working in IT, video games, tech, and everything outside the 9 to 5. I'm one of your hosts, Taylor Foy Muse.
I'm Keegan Lassard.
And boy, do we have an episode for you. And I'm going to open with the greatest news. Keegan bought Animal Crossing like I predicted and also influenced. All right, jump straight in. What are your thoughts?
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, but you fought it tooth and nail on screen. Like, no way, I ain't doing it.
Because if I didn't, I would have bought it like 2 weeks ago.
So you were just trying you were trying to cushion the blow.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And it's cute as hell.
See, I told you. You sit there and you just like, wow, this is like the most charming little video game ever. So what are your other thoughts? Just tell me what you think.
It was annoying at first. I thought I was going to hate it, but every single day I play it, I hated it less. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then like I'm fishing for 2 hours and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, why is it 2 a.m. and I'm fishing on Animal Crossing?
Exactly.
But, I think it's funny how like it's such a kid's game, but yet they put in like hella adult things into this game where it's like you're in debt. You need to pay off your debt. You have moving costs. Don't worry, 0%. They're like no interest. And I'm like, damn. And there's a fucking ATM in the game for the kids to use. I'm like, what is going on? But then there's like a bunch of kiddish stuff where you're chasing butterflies, but then you gotta go make a down payment on your house. It's so weird. But
they got something for both age ranges. It's just kind of like an interesting hybrid.
And I like forgot how they do the voice for like the dialogue, and I was like, "This is like I can't listen to it I don't have the volume on for most of it because I can't listen to like Tom Nook giving those like weird gibberish.
The voice is a little bit annoying. Like I definitely found that to be like overstaying its welcome, but then the music is so addictively charming that like I just bear with them and then like listen to the nice acoustic guitar and stuff. But
I think it's really weird how like the annoying things become less annoying the more you play it, because most games it's the complete opposite. But this game's like, we're gonna give you everything that was super annoying just out the gate, rip the band-aid, and then you're gonna learn to love it later on. Like the museum, like donating to that guy, and once you can like do multi-select, you're like, I'm good, I'm fine. I can multi-select and tell him I'm too busy. I don't need to. But if you accidentally hit that I got time, and he gives you the whole lecture, you're like, fuck, and you're like clicking A as fast as possible.
I actually like those though, because he gives you like some information that's like real. Like this is that educational aspect for the kids, but also for me. I'm sitting here learning stuff about fleas and dinosaurs that I didn't know, like all this different range. But like every time you give him an insect, I laugh so hard at how he's like, oh, what a wretched thing. And then he's like, I'm still obliged to ask, do you want to hear it? And I'm like, hell yeah. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then he gives me this like very biased opinion where he's like, the fleas cause itching from their saliva. Unbearable. And you're just like, what? It's just goofy.
It's also funny because he's an owl. So like owls, like they eat insects. I don't know, like I find myself laughing at random times, like getting stung by wasps had me dying because I didn't know that was a thing.
Your eye is like zooms. It zooms in and your eyes all
zooms in on the guy's face. Oh, it cracks me up.
The best part about that though is like he goes like all sad and he's like crying and shit, but then like he goes right back to smiling through the pain. He's like like the smile comes back even though his eyes hurting and this other eye is like half closed. Like just keep on catching butterflies.
Yeah. And then like another funny moment that happened was, you know, that person that like sells rugs and like wallpapers or whatever, the camel. I bought the mystery wallpaper or whatever. I go put it up. It's literally chain link fences. And I was just like, am I just living in a prison now?
He gives you like some good ones though too. So like it's basically just a gamble, because I did the mystery rug and floor, and I got like a really cool design rug, but then I did it again and I was like, oh, this one's kind of ugly. But they also probably have some troll ones in there too, just so you keep coming back. But I don't
Yeah,
know. Each character that
it's a
roams
cool
around
game.
has like weird personalities and stuff, and I don't know. I just find myself chuckling and laughing and keeping coming back.
Yeah,
So like, here we go. Glad you
I
like
mean,
it.
I definitely needed like I didn't know I needed that game, but I needed it. It's a nice game where I don't have to think. I
Hmm.
literally just go into it and I'm just like futzing around. It's not like Stardew Valley where you have like time restrictions on like actions you have to accomplish. It's just like you can live in a tent if you want to live in a tent, dude. You can live in
Yeah,
a house if you want to live in a house, and you
you
can
can
just
just chill,
roam around.
and it's perfect
So
timing with the quarantine. Everybody online is like raving about how it's like their outlet right now, and they're living vicariously through their little islander and stuff. And it's kind of true. Like even though it's this dorky little like cartoon game, like everybody's tearing it up. It's a great time.
yeah, you know what isn't good timing though is that Quibi app or whatever. You know
What's
about that
that?
one?
No.
It's like they do all the advertisements with all the celebrities that they have their own new shows that are like quick bites.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen some ads for that.
Who kn- who knew that that'd be such bad timing where everyone has a ton of time to look at their phone? They don't need quick bites. They need lengthy, long. So like that's kind of poor timing on that app's part.
Yeah,
but
I mean, how
uh
they couldn't have known, but that is real unfortunate. I didn't even think about that. Like all the little bite-sized pieces is like, well, we're about to tear up all your content in 30 seconds.
yeah, dude. It's like I think it's like 10-minute episodes or whatever. But
Hmm.
so and with the quarantine, I mean, yeah, I have had a lot of time, but now I'm kind of not having as much time, even though I've been furloughed like our last episode. Now I have a new job. So
Yo,
not
that was quick. He was worried about interviewing and then gets a new job like a week later. Pretty solid.
yes. So that was
Wait, so
super nice.
do we need to crack open a bottle of Merlot in regards to the furlough like pun
Yeah,
we did
I
last
feel like
episode?
I feel like that's necessary. Or we could cheers. Let's just cheers to
I don't
get a
have
good
a beer
job.
out, but here's a LaCroix for you. So there we go.
There we go. But so yeah, as now I don't really have a ton of time on my hands anymore. Now I'm like scrambling to get super caught up, because I got to be on the top of my A game going into a new job, taking on new responsibilities, and also it's gonna be a new technology I have to like learn from scratch because I'll be implementing a lot of it. So
And
it's gonna be
then
pretty intense.
are they're capable of fully remotely onboarding you? I'd assume.
That's what they say. So the only in-person activity I'll have is picking up the laptop,
Okay.
and then it's gonna be Zoom meetings and onboarding that way. And the VP I'm working with seems to be really passionate about getting me onboarded as soon as possible. Like
He's
really like hammering to
strictly
like get
business.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Well, congrats,
Yeah.
dude. I mean,
So
I'm real happy to hear that because you were a little bit down on the dumps with the furlough, but now here we are.
yeah. I mean it definitely and it's I'm lucky because it's not that case for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you there's those jobs out there. You just have to, you know, brush up on some skills you had learned in college and
Yeah.
maybe take a stab at a, Java programming job or whatever you thought you couldn't do. Brush it off and go at
Shape
it.
up. All right, before we dive more into that though, uh I'm assuming because you ended up getting a new job, that Steam backlog didn't get done. just like wiped. So let me ask about
Did
the
I say
challenge.
done?
Yeah, you did say done, but I didn't challenge you to complete the whole thing. I challenged you just to complete Frostpunk. How did that go?
Right. Frostpunk, I consider done. It's a yes or no.
That
Did I
sounds like
complete
a
it?
technicality, my guy. Did you complete it?
So I put like 6 hours into Frostpunk. Just whatever save I had from the last time I played it, I deleted that shit and started anew.
Oh dang, I thought you were to
And
resume.
I tried, and I was like, I don't know. But the game, I forgot why I stopped playing it. I love the game Frostpunk, and I truly admire what they built in that game. But it is hard as shit, and I don't want to play it for a while. I put like 6 hours into it, the campaign, because the game you can play endlessly. There's like endless modes that you can play and just survive and then see if you make it. And like the campaign does such a good job of getting you so invested in your like colony.
Mhm.
So when you do end up failing, which is either all your people die, your people revolt against you, and then they make you go walk into the frozen tundra by yourself, and they basically just kill you, or all hope is lost and everyone just goes crazy because you have hope and discontent meters.
Yeah.
So you're managing both of those. Um, so when I lost 3 times in a row after putting multiple hours into each run of the campaign, and the game as it is super dark and depressing. So like, you know how like Civilization, you're making like fun choices and decisions with your cities,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, should I expand? Should I build my army and all this stuff? This game's like, nah, are we gonna make our kids work? No, yes, yes. Are we gonna do amputations? Yes or no? And it's like it's never a good or a bad decision. It's all bad, and you have to make these like terrible decisions. And so like the game as itself is super depressing, and it's like a strategic difficulty I haven't really encountered. Even playing Paradox games, this game's up there. And I need a break. I'm considering I did a run through. Like I think this game is built on the fact that for the most part you won't succeed. Or even if you do, it's not like a happy ending, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm marking it as I did a run through, but I'm gonna come back and try to maybe with the DLC try to get to it and try to play it again.
So is this kind of like maybe not your limit, but this is like the farthest that you can like play a game that feels like work and kind of enjoy it? Because like the way you're
Yeah,
describing it to me, it
actually.
sounds like more stressful than fun. So and you're over here like, yeah, I want to play it again, and I'm like, okay.
It definitely is because like most strategic games, you can make a lot of decisions and you can make a lot of building choices and you can make a lot of mistakes. This game is like if you make 3 or 4 mistakes early on, you may think you're getting it further ahead in the game. You might be researching more things, but you've already pretty much failed. Like something will
Dang.
catch up to you that you made a mistake early on,
Yeah.
or how you structured your city in a circular pattern fucks with, if you focus your technology on food rather than heating. There's just way too many variables. And there's not an easy mode. It's you just load in. There's no difficulty changes. So
That's
it's a
tough.
hard game.
Doesn't sound like it's for me. I had an opportunity to get it in a Humble Monthly. It was like their I don't know, like headliner game for the month, and I was
Yeah,
just kind of like, I don't know. Or wait, no, maybe
hard pass.
that month I that's the month I forgot to pause, and I was trying to find a way to like get rid of it because I'm like I'm definitely not playing this. Like it's
It's
not
like I
for
already
me
got it.
in any respect. So I don't know. If
It's
anybody
definitely
wants
not for
a
everyone.
key, hit me up. I'll gift it to you.
Yeah, there you go. DM us and we'll send you a key. I actually have one too because I had a humble monthly, and it's just chilling in my inbox.
So we got 2 keys.
2 keys.
Nice.
Subscribe and DM us.
um. So yeah. Riding back on that new job hype. You starting like next week or
Yeah,
so?
yeah, yeah. I start Monday. So I mean,
So when this
with the
podcast
furlough,
releases, you'll be grinding.
I'll be in it. It's weird with the furlough because technically you're still employed, but you're technically like unemployed.
Yeah.
So like normal 2 weeks notice isn't really the same in this regard.
True.
Like I wanted to give him 2 weeks, but I also want to get full time payment. Like I want to make 100% what I can make per week.
Hmm.
So luckily, my employer was outstandingly patient, super understanding, and I still wanted to make sure everything got onboarded as efficiently as possible. I didn't want to just be like, "All right,
Yeah.
I'm
Knowledge
out.
transfer and
Like
stuff.
deal with it." So
Yeah, I mean, you never want to do that. Like, I feel like that's just how you burn bridges. So it's a good thing that they
100%.
were willing to work with you on that. And given the circumstances, I really feel like a lot of people are being understandable. So
Yeah, and like the first thing my boss wanted for me was to make sure I get to full time employment as soon as possible. So when I first heard that from him, I was another weight, because like got the offer, so another weight was lifted off my shoulders, and then I knew I had to give this uncomfortable phone call
hmm
because I genuinely loved the place I worked. So I had to make this phone call instead of in person, which I would rather have done. And luckily, he's super understanding and just wants what's best for my family at the time. So
sounds like a good boss. That's what you want.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
So how did that technical interview go, Ben? I'm assuming well. I mean, you got the job.
Yeah, I mean, I was really worried about technical interviews, especially over Zoom, like we talked about last episode.
hmm
Luckily, I only applied to two places, and this place I was reached out to on LinkedIn about it.
Yeah.
Um, the other places I went really far, and then they froze the hiring. So as I was prepping for all the technical interviews,
hmm
I went through 3 interviews with both places, and then on the fourth interview, they're like, "Yeah, we're on a freeze." So I was
Dang.
like, not what you want, but I put all that work in. I was like,
Yeah.
hold it together. So I had this last one, and then that was really all I had lined up. And it was like a hour phone interview, and it was heavy on QA. So it wasn't like this guy, like you could tell he wanted to ask some of the general things up front, and they were pretty easy. But then once we got into QA, that was all it was really about. And so it was a lot easier that way because that is my specialty. So,
Yeah.
and that is what I've been working in for however many years.
So
So
they didn't like mess around with the kind of questions you'd be worried like, oh, like I'm not really comfortable in that area, where you're always wondering if they're gonna ask you like test your knowledge elsewhere kind of thing. It's like, okay, like he's
yeah,
stuck in like what I'm actually applying to, so like you feel comfortable in your knowledge, so that's good.
yeah. It wasn't like he's like, given an array of 1 to 100 integers, find how do you find the missing integer? And you're like, I could tell you that.
I'll be
Let me
back
think.
tomorrow with
Yeah,
that answer.
and you're like, so give it in what language do you want this? Oh no, just pseudocode. And as soon as I said that, you're like, all right,
Dude, I almost sometimes find it harder to do the pseudocode just because it's like, what it,
because all you've been
what
grinding on is
words do I
Java.
use, man? Like,
Yeah.
do wild. That's all you
Oh
need.
man. If then, if else. Um, but yeah, I was super happy with how things went, and like I'm considerably lucky on how things went. So can kind of sigh of relief during all this stuff.
That's
So
great.
much time on our hands though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in when you're done with work for the day, you could just sign on Animal Crossing and then do your daily tasks there. Like,
Oh, I
you
haven't
got,
done that yet.
yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, I feel like I need to sign on every single day. Like, they give you like a small, like it's really not that great. It's a small bonus just for signing on to the ATM, and it's like, all right, cool, whatever. But like I feel like if I didn't do something for the day, like I'm not gonna have something ready by the next day. I feel like I'm being unproductive. So this, I guess this is my
Bro,
work away from work, but it's like casual work, because it's so goofy.
bro, I've been completely disregarding the ATM bonus.
Damn, son, you haven't been
I
accessing that. That's a bonus 300 miles per day once you get over 7. So like right now you haven't played for 7 days, I don't think. So it's really small, but like
no.
once you get over 7, I mean, it's 300 miles, man. Like gotta get that.
But um what do you plan to do with all this free time though? So you got Animal Crossing going on. You doing anything like work related after work?
I mean, not really. Like I guess
No.
when work's done, I just kind of sign off and hit the games hard, but
Yeah,
I
I guess last week when like I was going through all that, like I was prepping for the technical interviews, I was on such a grind to be like ready
yeah.
that you remember like all those like resources in college they gave us like Code Academy, Pluralsight, W3 schools. Like I was like, all right, I need to hit all of these at once. And so
Yeah.
like I was just on a grind of information. And I don't know, it was really useful to like get back into shape. And I kind of want to continue some of the lesson plans I was doing.
Mhm.
Because as much as like I don't think about it, I bet it'd be super useful for college students, maybe even high school students going through this where they're not in school. Just
Yeah.
like hop on Pluralsight or Code Academy and just pick something you wanted to learn and take advantage of this time, even though you're not in school. But then again, if I was in high school, I'd probably be like, nah, I'll just play video
I
games.
yeah, it's a double-edged sword because there's times where it's like, yeah, I could be, I don't know, finding some new skill to have, and I guess like at this point, like you never stop learning, but like if your job wants you to know a skill, like they'll find a way for you to like attain it. Like for
Yeah.
example, I needed to quickly learn Ruby at my current job, and they were just like, hey, here's a course, like we're gonna cover it, like just go through it. And like sure enough, like after a couple weeks, like I now know enough Ruby to get through the tasks I need to do. So I'm still in the process of figuring out everything else. But in college or high school, like you definitely have people that they want to get a little bit ahead and want to know what's going on like in college and beyond, and this is a great way to get into that. But I feel like nowadays or in high school they have a lot more classes that are already geared towards this, whereas like I didn't have any of that at my school, so like it was all on your own. But like if I would have known,
Yeah.
I don't even know if Pluralsight was a thing, what, like 7-8 years ago, but like if that was, I would have known about it, that would have been helpful because I could have just hopped on. Like I've used Pluralsight at my consulting agency that I worked at previously, and that was pretty helpful because like you could just like choose what you wanted to know, and they'd give you just like progressively more difficult videos, and then you just like follow along and have some assignments. But
Yeah.
some of them I felt like were just like code alongside us, like, and you
Yeah.
sometimes you don't really learn well from those. um but like the Ruby course that I just took, it was from the Pragmatic Studio, I think it's called. They like actually explicitly say right away, like, we're gonna show you some coding examples in the video, but we don't want you to code along with us. We're gonna give you a separate assignment that's like a template similar to what we're doing, and you fill in like on your own, so that like you actually solve the problem, and then they give you like the answer or a hint first and then an answer afterward. But like I just felt like that was such a more effective way of doing it, because like I would get sort of
100%.
lost and then just like code alongside, and then it's like I might not actually be focusing on like why that's doing what. But
Right. And there's a lot of good resources out there that are free because Pluralsight and Code Academy both have like some payment restrictions, but like W3 schools completely free to use. And they even
dude, that's
have
a
like
lifesaver, that thing right there, man. I love
it really
W3 schools.
is. And like, if you're, let's say they're saying, hey, I want you to know SQL pretty well for this interview, they
Hmm.
got like these quizzes on SQL or Java, all these different ones. They give you basically a crash course of pretty much everything you probably learned in some of your college courses, just like high level, just so you have a refresher. And they even have like certification courses to take as well.
That's
But
nice.
yeah, I mean, if you're really like in high school and this is kind of a lull period and you know that you're going to go to college to become a CS major, I mean, right now would be an amazing time to just maybe even do a free trial Pluralsight. They do a 30-day free trial and you can take any course within the 30 days. So,
Yeah, Udemy is another good one. Like that one's not so much like a monthly subscription. Like you can just like go find a massive bundle. Like
mhm.
I I follow a lot of different like things on my Flipboard, like just or other RSS feeds, whatever, and like places like Gizmodo or I don't know, like CNET, other like tech things will just randomly sometimes be like, learn the code for free or really cheap, like without a degree, because like there's the whole debate of whether like going to college is worth it, because like a lot of it's publicly available online. But like even if you
Yeah.
want to just get ahead before going to college, like those are huge, and you can get like for $30 just like an all-inclusive like instructional thing on Udemy or another similar site. And I bought one. I think I bought one in college for Java, like in the summer or something once, because I was like, man, like I don't know if I really caught all what was happening in that. For like our Java's teacher was not really the best rated, like by uniformly amongst our department. I'm not naming names, but like, so I bought the $40 thing and just learned more from that. And I don't know, like you could easily just handle that through one of those. So I would recommend looking at like Udemy bundles if you don't want to pay monthly, or if you're like, oh yeah, like I want to have continuous like updated knowledge, then Pluralsight or Code Academy might be the way to go. But yeah, that W3 Schools though was always like, you search like, oh, like let me look at this little documentation on something, and then just W3 Schools like, we got you on like everything you need.
Everything. Yeah. Well, in Pluralsight, like, so they have the free trial, but they also, I mean, it's like $30 a month, and you have access to literally every single like Python, JavaScript, Angular tools, even like some test automation classes. Like they have just about everything. Code Academy I know is free. It's like it's set on how many hours per month you use.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you go over a certain amount, then you're in like a paid tier.
I see.
But like my wife used it for one of her classes and she learned HTML in like a week. And
Cool.
granted, HTML is like not super complex, but like
I mean, she's
that
not
for
an
somebody that's
IT
not
major
IT technical, yeah,
or
yeah.
major, but
So
IT industry.
and she picked it up, and the classes were easy to follow, and sometimes she'd ask me questions. I was like, I don't know, and I'm like, I have to pull up W3 schools in the background.
Yeah, that's definitely like
So
something I'm not hesitant to do. Like people like almost expect you to be some sort of like dictionary for that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, like I don't memorize the documentation. Like I might have to do a quick search and then like get back to you.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I think that would be it's now is like a great time to like continue some sort of education. Like I know it's a great time to like play video games and like chillax and be at home, be remote. But like I think right now is a great time for a lot of cool like educational things that are geared to your passion rather than school. Cause I feel like a lot of kids don't like to focus in school, but like now you pick, go take something. Like if I was a parent right now, I'd be like, do an online course of something you're passionate about or a hobby you're passionate about. Um, and, I think now is a great time to, like, even start a podcast. Like, me and you, we talked about it for a while, and then we're just like, "Let's just do it," and it became, like, one of our best hobbies so far. And, like, yeah, there's been, like, bumps in the roads, but it's pretty easy just to, like, start up a podcast.
Yeah, it's a little bit more easy than I thought. I was always like,
Yeah,
I
like,
don't know how to do any of that, but the internet is real helpful in that respect.
especially with Buzzsprout. Like, that's what we use to broadcast out our podcast. And I mean, they've been super helpful in getting us going. And if any of you listeners or viewers want to get a podcast starting yourself, Buzzsprout is an amazing resource. They have tons of videos of how to's and like how to get started. They even help you with finding advertisements, and they're, in my opinion, probably the cheapest way to broadcast out a podcast on like a massive platform. And if you do want to, we have a link that if you use our link right here, finally get to do that. I'm super pumped about that
It's
right
an
here.
ad
And
read, guys. Our first ad.
if you get set up with Buzzsprout through our link, you basically get $25 of Amazon credit after, I don't know, like after you get monthly payments going. It helps our podcast out, and it helps you get started with Buzzsprout with the extra edge of getting $25 from Amazon. And it's super easy to use. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had any issues with it. And depending on how long you're going to make your podcast, they got different tiers. But I mean, if you make one with a friend, because that's most likely what you're going to do. I don't know if you're just going to hop on here and monologue by yourself for 2 hours. But if you get a friend, like you split the cost and the max tier is $24. So $12 a month each. That's what we pay for because our podcast runs into that tier of content. It's super helpful.
We
And they give
ramble a
you,
lot.
yeah, we we get like all the easy ways to download it to Spotify, like Apple Music. They have like Stitcher and other like lesser, Google. That like all the, I shouldn't say lesser known, but like a lot of our listens come from Spotify and Apple Music. So it's just like a one button upload and super helpful.
Yeah, and they give you statistics too of like where your viewers or listeners are coming from, what countries they're listening in at, and what applications. And it's pretty cool.
Dude, you remember when we got like one random listen from Russia? We're like, yo, who's listening in Russia, man? Like, thanks. Never got another one.
Shout out.
He probably accidentally stumbled upon it. Oh man. And then if you guys have any actual questions about like recording the podcast, like tips that way, outside of Buzzsprout, because Buzzsprout doesn't provide the like, though they might give you some hints and stuff, but they don't provide programs to actually record it. And then like, I don't know, we now recently got into video, so like we're using OBS for that. There's different programs you can use, but we're willing to, you hit up our DMs, we'll help you out.
Yeah. Slide in them DMs.
But you know what? We did get not a DM slide, but somebody texted you with a question.
Yeah.
And you want to let the crowd know what it is?
So they were curious of what my opinion of VR was. They don't know really much about the technology, and they have like a friend that's looking at PS4 in their VR kit, or like going like somewhere like Oculus Quest.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like zero knowledge of it, and they want to know like, do you have any recommendations before they go? Because VR ain't cheap, so they're like, do we go this route? Do we go this route?
It's funny
and
though.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, because neither of us actually own a VR console, but I
both want to.
Yeah, I do have opinions on it, but I'm gonna let you go first.
My basic opinion to them was like, so they don't even have a PlayStation 4 yet.
Okay.
So my opinion was, if you want to do both console gaming and you want to do VR as well, then you should go the PS4 route. Because if you just put all your money into the Oculus Quest, that's all you're gaming with is VR.
Yeah.
So if they're like, and in my opinion, if I got VR, I have a feeling I'd get tired of it after a few times. Like I'll play Beat Saber for like 5 hours and then like probably throw up from motion sickness and then like go about.
You got to throw in that throw up from motion sickness.
So then, but I said PS4 because even though you're going to spend like $600 at the end of it to get the console and then the headset, you're at least able to, use it as a Netflix, use it as console gaming, all these different things that just having the Oculus Quest wouldn't do. And and in my opinion, if you don't really know much about VR, chances are you shouldn't just go buy like the best VR equipment that's only VR. Chances are you're probably one of those people that, even if you got both, you probably wouldn't be able to compare it too well. Like you probably wouldn't pay that much attention to the better hardware. Which is ironic because I'm an Xbox person, and then like that's like our whole argument is we're better hardware.
VR,
but
it's a little different just because
it is.
It's more apparent. That's what I wanted to ask though. Is this person someone who's kind of a stickler for like how it looks or feels, like hardware like that? Like are they like a frames per second snob? Like how what's this person?
No, like? From my tongues, it was just like they just were curious about VR and like wanted to try it. And I was like, that's an expensive like put my toe in, but like if you really want to, I would say it's better two birds with one stone rather than get the Oculus Quest and hate it and not enjoy VR, and then you're just stuck with a $400 thing sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, and I think your your like a high level opinion about the getting a PlayStation, because like you would also have a PlayStation to play on afterwards instead of just a VR console, is like that's a great thing. I was thinking the same thing, but I was gonna come at it from like a technical standpoint. But if they like aren't that, into all that, like this might not mean too
Yeah.
much. But I will say though that my dad purchased the VR, like a PlayStation VR headset. He already had a PlayStation though, and the console is like 350, and like that's on top of the fact that the PlayStation also already is 300, but you can get it on sale, for less or whatever. But the
Yeah.
Pro is gonna run it a little bit better, most likely, because it has higher, or better technology in it. But his main complaint the whole time was the resolution was bad. They have like this effect that people call the screen door effect, where when you're looking at the screen that up close, it looks as if you're looking through like a mesh screen door. When you look at something, you can see those
Oh.
black lines. And like he was just like, I really like the concept of the VR. It's really cool, but like I can't get over the fact that I'm seeing that screen effect. And he's more attuned to like the finer things like that. He'll notice that. But like for someone who might not really like as easily can ignore that, that might be the better choice, because I think the PlayStation VR like technically has higher frame rates and like refresh rates, and it runs better.
Yeah.
But the thing though I like about the Quest is there's no wires. It also has a better resolution, so it's harder to see that screen effect with the weird mesh. But yeah, the biggest thing that I think is kind of weird is the PlayStation uses controllers that are from PS3 technology. The Move controllers, those things are so old. They look like dildos. And like it's just like, dude, what is this? So they don't have any sort of analog sticks on them, and they like I feel like they're limited. But on the Quest, you get the Oculus controllers that have like the ring around it, the analog sticks and triggers and all that, and it feels nice. And then plus the Quest gets like a ton of games because the Oculus has like one of the best supports. But because it's a console that's attached to your face and not an external thing, like it does have some limitations that way, where like when they make these intensive VR games, it's gonna be limited. But like if you want to play Beat Saber or like Google Tilt Brush and like the gimmicky VR games that you're gonna want to play, and you don't really care about playing like on an actual console afterward, and you don't want to trip over wires while you're playing, the Quest probably might be the way to go.
Man, I just want to play Beat Saber.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, it looks like a ton of fun.
I just want like my neighbor or somebody else to buy it so I can go play it for like 2 hours and be like, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then save $400 some dollars.
That's my next point. It's $400 for the Quest, which you have that and nothing else. So like when you're done with that, after its phase wears off, like you're $400 poor.
Throw up.
But then if you bought it on the PlayStation, I'm sure you could find a deal where the PlayStation is less than $300. You'd probably spend around $500 to $600 with that, and then you won't have this $400 paperweight on the table when you're done. You'll have a $350 paperweight, but then also a nice thing to play games on afterward. But
yeah, and it doesn't look as nice as the new PS5 controller either.
All right. Hold on. Get your Xbox roasts out now. Xbox controller, copy, blah blah blah. Just get it out now.
Is this a PS5 controller?
Yes, it is, dude. Look at that. That Xbox controller is the new PS5 controller, bro.
Pretty much.
Everybody was saying it, and I agree. But the funny thing is, I was like, I mean, the Xbox has an ergonomic shape. That's what palms look like. So anything that's ergonomic is also gonna look like that. That's why like all the ergonomic mice look the same. But then I saw someone put it so bluntly in the comment. He was like, yeah, of course it looks like the Xbox controller. A couple years ago, we figured out what palms are shaped like, and that's why everything looks the same. Next. And I was like, dude, this guy is not messing around. Like, he is like, get out of here with those comments.
Okay, one sec. The reason why I think a lot of us are pissed is because you PlayStation bros have been roasting us on by how fat and chunky our Xbox controllers have been for forever. So now that you guys have a fat, chunky one, it's finally our turn to be like, told you. And then you guys are like, yeah, duh. And we're like, what happened to the last 6 years?
I've never actually made that comparison. I didn't know people really said that. I always made fun of the original Xbox controller because that thing was a tank. Because that thing like literally was so big. But I like the way the Xbox controller feels. I just don't like the analog sticks dead zones. They're like really loose, and because I grew up on PlayStation, I got used to the tight, like it's like less sensitive. So going to play an Xbox, I always get complained. But I love the triggers on it because the triggers were always so nice the way they curved and shit. So they're supposed to make the PS5 controller have like tension. So like if you're like, you can probably turn it on and off, but if you're playing a game where you're drawing a bow, like you can feel the tension as you're pulling the bow back. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like I'd like that for single player games, but I'm not playing that in Call of Duty because like that's gonna just be a distraction. But
yeah, I don't know. I think it looks cool. I will say that.
I don't know if they held it or what, but like they said that the way that it feels in your hand is surprisingly smaller than it looks. So like I don't know if that's them trying to be like, oh, it's not bulky, chunky, because I mean I have a PlayStation controller right here. They've always had a thin middle, whereas the Xbox controller, it's like fatter in the center. So like I don't know if they're trying to make the PlayStation like still kind of thin, because some people were like, oh, it's such a big departure from all the other DualShocks, they're ruining it. And I'm like, dude, who cares? Like if it's gonna feel nice, it's just like they're finally making a change. I don't know, I feel like people are just looking to complain about something. But one thing that's so minor that I do think is a little bit disappointing is they took away the colored buttons. So like it's just white on, like with the gray like X, circle, square, triangle, and they're probably gonna release some special edition that has colored buttons. But like I don't know, if they don't do that for a while, it's gonna be a little bit disappointing, but not the end of the world. I like having the colored buttons. So one thing I thought was weird though is that they chose to reveal it with a white controller, and they didn't show like a black one. And some people responded to it with a picture of a black controller, like, oh, this is it. But then that didn't come from Sony. So I don't know if, like, I don't think they would release without a black controller, but then everybody's like, does it come in black? Like, what's the black? Is the console going to be white only? Like, people are freaking out. And then, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I made some mock-ups of, like, colored versions. And I'm like, okay, that looks cool. But, like, can Sony confirm that it comes in black? Like, I don't want to be defaulted to white, especially because it's, like, two-tone. Like, if it was all white, I think I'd be like, all right, whatever. But, like, it's, like, black on the bottom, and it's, like, I would just prefer one uniform color, but whatever. I think it's gonna come in black. That would be kind of dumb if they didn't.
I mean, I'm not surprised by Sony's lack of like confirmation, because I mean they still haven't even shown you guys the console. They're just showing you the controller, which I think is it's so silly.
Well, I don't know if they're trying to like ride out hype like slowly, but it sounds more like they're just buying time because I don't think they have it ready yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I saw some article. It was probably a leak. I can't confirm, but they were like, Sony's currently thinking about like either like releasing with this like kind of unfinished part that they wanted to be like they're cutting scope, or they want to just like push it back and then redo it. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like I was like, no, like, please don't do that. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I just was like brushing that aside because, again, it wasn't like confirmed from Sony coming out like, hey, they even said like, we're not delaying. That's what they said. So I would say that they're probably
2022.
Why even skip 2021? They're going to push it back a whole additional year.
This year's trash. So they got to spend 2021 to like regain and redo.
Regain and redo. Well,
regain and redo.
You know what else was redone? Resident Evil 3, and I played that.
Yeah.
beat it in
How
four and a
was it?
half hours. It was the shortest game I've ever played. Oh my gosh. Were games this short back in the 90s, man? Cause like, woof.
Probably
Um,
4 hours.
4.5. Don't forget the half. That's crucial when the game is that short. um, I'm gonna give my quick opinion of it because it being a remake, like I don't want to dive real deep. They have less of a finished game, I feel like, than Resident Evil 2 was. Resident Evil 2 was excellent and everybody liked it. And I even expressed my concern in the previous episode about having 4 different variations in that one, and this one only has 1. And I mean, that was realized right away because I was like 4 hours in and I was like, oh, like, okay, we're probably like 2/3 done. And then I did like another mission and I was like, oh, like that's the end. And then I was like kind of disappointed, but like I did have a lot of fun playing that part, like that time. And then like I just played it on standard difficulty, and I guess the whole allure is like you play it again and get faster. They have like tons of challenges that you unlock points to then get extra stuff. So like on my first run through, I got some sort of like heat knife that I haven't played again yet with, but like you could go back through and it's just like this knife you could just like chop zombies up with. And then like you could play longer and you get like unlimited ammo. And it's like, okay, so like they're just like having you earn the cheats and then you just like have fun. And I'm like, okay, like that's gonna be kind of cool, but still I'm gonna be playing the same once I'm better at it, it's gonna be like a 2-hour story. And then like once I get better, it's gonna be under an hour if you speed run it. Like, I don't know. But they have progressing difficulties that apparently are like where the game is truly shines. That's what reviewers are saying. I played it on standard, so that's the second. That's just normal difficulty. Like that's the second hardest. They have a hardcore mode that once you beat that, you unlock nightmare mode, and then that one's like where they said like that's where it really is great. But then apparently once you beat that, they unlock inferno mode, and it's just like the game is really like tough on you. Like you can die in like one bite from the zombie instead of like 2 or 3. So you really got to manage your ammo's more scarce. They shuffle the item locations, so where you found that puzzle piece last time, nah, it's not there, it's in a different spot, so you got to get used to that kind of stuff. Cool. They put heavier zombie enemies earlier on, so like where you first run into like the liquor thing, which is like that 4-legged fucking brain looking like long tongue having dude, you'll find him way earlier and there'll be more of them. And like you'll be running through an area, you're like, oh yeah, there was only like 2 zombies here last time, there's like 2 like big enemies and like you gotta run around like harder kind of stuff. So I feel like that'll be kind of fun to have because I won't be able to just kill everything. Like I'll actually have to be like, okay, I need to shoot the zombie's knee to get him to slow down, to slip past, and then like here comes the big boy, so I gotta like actually kill him, otherwise I'm dead. And I feel like that'll be cool. But yeah, it wasn't, definitely not worth $60. And I already said I kind of knew going in that was gonna be the case, but since like we're in quarantine, I was like, you know, why not? I haven't tried that multiplayer mode, but weird choice, they didn't include that in the Resident Evil game. It's a separate game that's free, with air quotes, but it's only included if you buy the $60 game, so it ain't free. I don't understand. It comes, yeah, it's a separate download, but when you buy Resident Evil 3, Project Resistance shows up in your inventory. So questionable choice that way, but
that's weird. It's a weird move.
Yeah, I would say for people who have played this before, this is probably going to be like great nostalgia, and to those people it might be worth the $60 price tag, like to some people. But for someone who's like, I've never played Resident Evil games before, or like maybe this is your second one after playing the second Resident Evil 2 remake, and you're kind of like, oh, should I get it? I would just wait till it's like $30 or less, because it is very quick, but it's a lot of fun. And I will say that Nemesis dude, he is like so much more of a threat than Mr. X was in the second game, because Mr. X would just kind of like slowly walk around and you hear his thump 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 footsteps, and then you could just like juke him and run away. Like Nemesis literally won't leave you alone, dude. Like I was running up the stairs and he jumps to the top and he's just like, and I'm like, bro, okay. I need, like, and you run away and you gotta like stun him, and then like you get too far, he throws his tentacles at you, slides you all the way back. It's like, bro, where am I supposed to go? Like he is relentless. So, but the only funny thing is when you do find a room that he doesn't go in, and there's not a ton, I guess, but like I was looking through the window and he's just outside like staring at me, like, and I'm like, bro, okay, I gotta go out and face that.
That's
dude.
funny. Along with Resident Evil 3, you were playing Valorant, right? You finally got the code, or you got special access to play it, and I didn't.
No, I didn't get the access either. My friend was nice enough to let me sign in on his account. It's funny because he's really big into Counter-Strike, and I was like, oh, like this is, the new thing, and he's into it. I'm like, but you gotta watch like special streamers that have the access, and then you get it dropped to your Twitch account once you link it to Riot. So like it's an interesting way that you get it. It's not like you just sign up, like they basically force you to watch it and then you get it, which
that's interesting.
It's kind of cool in concept, but like they ran into a lot of issues, like server issues, and like people like it was like 1.5 million people watching Valorant on Twitch, and because they all want the code. But of course I let him know, and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll watch. Gets the code, I don't. So then he's like, do you want to talk about it on your podcast? I'll let you play it. And I was like, oh, cool. So I download it, and I spend 30 minutes trying to sign in, and I can't even get in. And then finally I tried it at like 12:30 a.m., like after we had been playing Call of Duty Warzone, and that was like a time where I actually got in right away. So I only played one match, and I'm not going to give like I love it or hate it now because it's been one match, but like I'm going to say I can't like see myself liking this game any more than I like Counter-Strike, because Counter-Strike was always kind of like a questionable game to me, because I felt like I had to completely relearn how to aim, because it's not just as simple as like, oh, you can quickly aim at a person and point to their head and click it. It's like the game literally had built-in functionality where you could hit a shot right on, but the bullet wouldn't go where you aim, just for like entropy, and like you have to manage recoil and stuff. So I have to completely change up how I play first person shooters in order to be good at that game. And then those skills don't really carry over into other games because those games don't have such aggressive recoil. But the reason why I'm essentially talking about Counter-Strike right now is because this game is the same thing. Like they didn't even try to hide it. Like when Fortnite made a battle royale after PUBG did, PUBG sued them for like I don't even know what. They were like, you made the same game, like, and they lost it because they're like, you can't monopolize a genre of game. Meanwhile, Riot's over here like, can we make Counter-Strike down to the way the guns fire, and then just disguise the fact that flashes and Molotovs are now abilities, so it's like Overwatch. Now, like, I'm not gonna complain because I'm not a Counter-Strike diehard, but like, how are they getting away with that? Because like, it's the same thing. Like, they have different gun names, but it literally, that's the AK. And then like, oh, there's the M4, and like, oh, there's the op. They call it the operator. That's the gun's name in Counter-Strike. Like, I don't know. Either way, it is for what it is. It's like a more polished version. Like Counter-Strike is an older game running on the Valve Source engine, which I never liked. It feels just so garbage and janky, and they kind of did some sort of revamp, and like, I don't know, pros don't even play on 1080p resolution. They dumb it down to get bigger hitboxes and like some garbage like 800p resolution. Like it's too much. But
that's so ugly.
All of that crap aside, it does feel really good. Like they are not messing around. Like, for instance, Call of Duty Warzone has 12 tick servers, which is just And then this game is coming out the gun with 120 tick servers, or it's like 128. Like they are just like not messing around. They're like, we are giving full support. They gave like all the damage values for guns and stuff before it even like publicly was available. Like they're just like trying to feed this to make it like the next esport. So they're like, if you want a company backing a game fully from the gun, they're there for you. And I can't say if it's going to be the next CS:GO killer, but like it plays the same way, and there's just like now it has ults. Like that's pretty much the only thing that seems to be different, and maybe like one ability that you don't have to buy. But if I want to get into this game, I'm literally going to have to just like study up. Like maybe not to the same extent as League, because you know League has all the items and different things you have to do, and it's a completely separate style of game. Like MOBAs are unique, but I suppose like Dota was the original MOBA, and then like League came in and made that and made it better, and then now they're coming at him again with Counter-Strike. They're basically trying to make Valve, but like their version better. I don't know. Either way, we don't have to get into that.
Yeah.
I would literally have to like figure out how to shoot the guns properly and not be ass, and then just like I'm not used to like playing even in Call of Duty like search and destroy. I like any game modes that have like bombs and planting. Like I liked Rainbow Six Siege because I liked like the defending mode. Like set up, prepare. Like they're gonna infiltrate, and then you just have to sit there and defend. Like there's no like, oh, are they gonna go to A or B? And then like I need to literally like look at every angle on the way there, trying to not to get one tapped in the head. Like it's just a different world. So I don't know. It's definitely polished, but I don't think I'm gonna get into it.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is like everyone's like, oh, the CS:GO killer, but like, dude, CS:GO is still around. Like, how old is that game? And yet it has such a diehard community, and it seems to continuously prosper.
For
So,
sure.
like, even though this might be like a good like stepping platform for them to stop playing CS:GO and like play a new game,
Mm-hmm.
it's still. I mean, it's if one thing's for certain, CS:GO will always live to see another day. So
I mean, they
I'm
didn't
excited
kill
to try.
Dota. Like Dota's still
Should have. I
going.
wish.
It's not
I wish
as
they did.
popular, I don't think, anymore, but I don't know. Like it's really just gonna come down to like how well it's supported and like its esports potential. But like they made a copy of a video game that that is gonna be well supported and has like some extra little quirks to it. So I don't know.
Well, they made a guy that gave up on first person shooters perk up and say, maybe I'll try this one out. So
But
I'm looking
but let
forward
me
to it.
ask you this question. Do you at all like Counter-Strike? Because this plays the same. like I like of course a hardcore CS:GO player, I don't want to step on any toes. There are differences. Like it's not the same. I don't know, like but to me coming in, I'm like, bro, I am playing the same game but cartoon graphics. Like that's the only difference.
I don't like CS:GO,
You won't like
but I
this. Like
like
there's
Riot.
absolutely no chance you like this.
Fair, but I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, I would say
Like,
try it. It's a free to play game. Let's get that out. I don't know. I haven't said that yet. It's free.
so I don't know. My thing is I like Riot as a company, and I like their support of League of Legends, and I feel like I didn't think I was gonna like Overwatch, and then I actually enjoyed Overwatch. I wasn't great at Overwatch, but I had a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah,
Same thing with Rainbow Six
that
Siege,
won't happen here.
and all right, we'll
I'm
see.
just telling you, like at least in Overwatch, the bullets go where you shot, so you didn't have to be like, okay, so my cursor, like here's the guy, but my cursor needs to be over here to get the shots up there. Like I need to like pull it a weird way, and no, it's like you point, you click, you kill. That's it. And then like you need to know how to use your abilities, but like this game has almost no resemblance to Overwatch. Everybody like, oh, it's Overwatch and CS:GO. there is no element of Overwatch except for the fact that you have ultimates. But ultimates aren't exclusive to Overwatch. They're in a lot of other games. And I made the mistake of being like, oh, it's like Overwatch because I'm like, oh, you have abilities now. And I thought they recharged. They don't. You buy the abilities used just like you buy a smoke grenade or a grenade in Counter-Strike. You have one ability that recharges. And it's like, dude.
You know why? I think I know why I want to jump on this hype train. It's because there's no other hype train of information to jump on. Now the E3 is just like, sorry, we're not even going to do a digital conference. I'm like, what else am I going to get hyped on? I might as well jump on this Valorant hype train because all the other information for video games is just like, we'll find out what happens this fall, but we're not having an E3 this summer, so sorry, gamers. So I guess that's what happened.
They delayed Last of Us 2 indefinitely, and I like wanted to cry, man. Like that was my hype train. Like that was real soon. That's like next month, and now it's not happening. We don't know when. They don't even have a release window anymore. And I swear, if that comes out in September when Cyberpunk comes out, we're gonna have problems. So,
isn't it baffling that like, even though it's gonna come out in a month, they're like, yeah, nah, we have to delay it indefinitely. Like, is there really any remaining work, or is this truly that you just don't know when you want to sell it physical copies?
The remaining work, dude, they thrive under the crunch thing. Like, I don't remember if we talked about this, but like they have insane hours. Like they don't force anybody to stay at the office, but everybody stays till like 9 p.m. kind of shit because they're doing all the little like things that nobody thinks about. Like there's such hyper attention to detail. Like, oh, when I like shoot the bucket, the recoil from the gun is gonna make the flap go up. Like they're that level of detail. Like it's crazy. So like, okay, that's how they work. That's, you know, that nobody's holding them at gunpoint kind of deal. But like they can't do that at home is what they're essentially getting at. So like they're like, we can't do our best work. But yeah, I also think sneakily they're like, we're not going to sell enough physical copies. So like, let's delay it.
Because like it has to be both. Because there's no way that a month away from a release window that you're that behind on your work.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine. Like they would have delayed it a couple months ago if that was the case. They would have had a triple. They would have a bottom line go or no go meeting, and somebody said go. Because they would have delayed it like months ago. So to me, this is just like GameStops are closing. They're shutting down. Yeah. So do we really think our digital sales are going to be steady? No. Let's delay it indefinitely. So I don't know. It's just like, it's just nothing but sad news. Cause like I was hoping E3 would be like, don't worry guys, we're still gonna have a digital conference. And hopefully it would be a little bit more lively than the Sony one, where they had Professor What's His Face giving us a lecture about frame rates and SSD drives. But hopefully, I was hoping the E3 wouldn't be canceled. But it's just it's a big.
What are we gonna do now? Like, are these game studios going to have their own press conferences remotely? They fucking better, because otherwise, where are we gonna get our news from? How am I supposed to know what's coming out this fall and into 2021? Like, you guys need to tell us something. I don't want to just wake up to a tweet of like a link to a trailer, like, watch it. Like, there's no hype behind that. That's the whole fun in E3 is that you get hype. Like, it's like, okay, I got 3 days of just straight game hype. And it's just like pouring in. And obviously that's not going to happen anymore. But at least we can maybe get like, oh, Sony press conference next week, Xbox press conference the next week. Like, let's do something like that.
Another thing that was good about E3 is it got you hyped for games you didn't even think you were going to get hyped about.
Yeah.
Like, you just would see gameplay you didn't even... They're like, the sleepers came out.
Yeah.
So...
And you're like, dude, that looks dope.
Yeah. I think we're just going to have to hunker down, Steam backlog it, Animal Crossing it.
Bro, you keep bringing up that Steam backlog. I think that's a lost cause. Like, I have severely decreased what I think I'm actually what's in scope. Let's say that. I have cut the scope so hard. Before we were gold plated, man. We were like, oh, let's toss this game in the backlog. That one too. And I was just like, probably not. It's probably like these 5. And right now, I feel so much less stressed because I'm like, you know what? I really only have 4 games I'm playing right now instead of 14. So
Yeah,
you need to do it too.
fair.
Well, I got some other news, non-video game related. I finally watched Jojo Rabbit, that Oscar nominated movie of like the little kid who has Hitler as an imaginary friend. Like,
Yeah.
bro, I've been trying to convince my girlfriend to watch this movie for a while because I'm like, oh, it's like Oscar nominated. It's satire. I like satire. It's gonna be funny. And she was just like, nah, I don't want to watch it. Like, I don't even understand. Like, and I'm like, I could kind of I could understand the apprehension because it's like you watch the trailer and you're like, wow, this looks weird. And then
Yeah.
you're just like, why was it an Oscar nominated? Blah, blah, blah. But then it turned out to be really good and like well crafted. But like the dark humor, like, I mean, they didn't hold back. Like, I was just sitting here like, wow, they are making jokes about some heavy stuff. And like,
Yeah, dude.
I'm sitting here like, okay, you can, like, Americans are gonna love this, but I don't know about anybody else kind of deal. Like, but the person's name that made it doesn't sound American. Like, it's like Taiki or something. Like, I don't know.
Taki Wati. He's from New Zealand.
Okay, so I was just like, I'm not sure who made it and how like insensitive this might be, but like, it was really funny. And then at one point, my girlfriend just goes like, you know, like when the 2 characters at the like the lead are children, like they have to be like good at acting. And because we were sitting here not like, oh, this is like super corny. Like the main character is supposed to be playing like a 10-year-old and then or 10 and a half or something, but like he was just like really good at his role of being a Nazi fanatic at the age of 10. Like, it's just interesting. But then they also have some sad parts in there, and they do a lot of really cool, like, oh, we bring it around, and like, oh, now we're playing on themes that were early on. So it's like I could see like why this was nominated for Oscars and stuff, because it's like they've really danced around a very like heavy time in history, and just the concept of the imaginary friend Hitler is just like too funny. Like the conversations they have are just nuts.
Yeah. I don't know. It was definitely an interesting movie. Like
Did you see it?
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that you had seen it, so we could spoil the hell out of it. I was sitting here dancing around like you hadn't seen it.
I mean, we don't have to, but
Well, all right,
I thought it was a good
I'm
movie.
gonna say one thing. Skip ahead a few minutes. We'll mark it in the description. I like the part where he's like breaking up with Hitler and he's just like, just give me one hail. And then he just kicks him out the door or the window and he just flies back. Like, oh my gosh. And every single time they greet someone, they have to do the hail. Like every single person. And I'm just like, wow. We're sitting here just like awkwardly laughing like this is insane. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. You have spoilers, or should we say spoilers over?
No, spoilers over, man. I mean, I don't really have any like strong opinions about that movie. I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable, but like I left it going like, all right, like yeah, it was good. And then like that was it. I wasn't leaving it like the Parasite where I was like, whoa, I just watched like a masterpiece. I mean, it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So
did it win any Oscars?
Yeah, I think it won. Right, I don't remember what it won, but I'm pretty sure it won. I think it won Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah, it got nominated for like 5 or 6 different Oscars, but then it won the Best Adapted Screenplay. So, I mean, it didn't win Best Picture. It's definitely not like Parasite is that wow, like I've just blew my mind kind of thing. But this is just kind of like, I don't know. It's enjoyable. It's worth the watch, and I would watch it again because I found myself laughing really really hard. But it's nothing like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So.
Yeah.
Hit it up though.
I don't know. We're definitely gonna have to continue to grind on some TV shows and movies throughout this quarantine, and hopefully I stumble upon something better than Tiger King, but we'll
Wait,
we'll
do you
see.
not like it now?
I'm on like episode 6, and I'm like on the struggle bus of like it's getting sad. Like it was funny, and now it's just getting sad.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like they
my hair is
warned
slowly
you.
turning into the Tiger Kings, dude. And like
You need a
I
haircut?
need a haircut.
You're not gonna show your hair's doing this little like peek out unicorn looking thing. Oh, dude,
My
that
hair's
is long.
wildly long, dude.
That is long. Yeah, I mean,
And I
I'm
can't get it
like
cut.
slowly just getting the afro going. Like it's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
unruly yet, but like I also just like took my trimmer and like cut the back a little bit and the front lining up. But I don't have my fade right now. I need the fade, man, but I guess I'm not leaving the house, so it doesn't matter.
I am hats only at this point.
Oh, that's a
Wear a
tough
hat.
look.
Go to the grocery store, wear a hat.
Do you
Always.
All right, so I know we're on camera right now and you put the hat on, but are you wearing the hat when you're just chilling at home?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it like falling into your eyes kind of thing and that like you don't want to put the gel in it every day? That's fair.
Yeah. Well, the gel doesn't do shit. Like I'll put it in the morning, and then like halfway through the day, it'll just like slowly droop into my face. I'm like, fuck. All right.
Dang.
But
All right, well, maybe the first place we go after this quarantine is the barbershop.
100%.
But then everybody's going to need a haircut, so it's just going to be like regrouping. And it's like, maybe I'll wait another month after that and then go get my haircut.
Yeah. Well.
Well, you just like
I don't know,
lamenting about
I'm
the
good,
fact that
man.
you don't have your haircut. You are in deep thought over there like, wow, this is this is not what I want. Oh man, what happens if you have to do work meetings though? Are you gonna be wearing your backwards cap? Are you gonna just have to rough it with that floopy crap you got all over the place?
I'll have to gel it, bro, but like I haven't even thought about that.
Well, you
I gotta
better
get my
get
laptop
used to
Monday.
it with that Zoom meeting, bro.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Well,
All right, well, I guess do we want to give you another challenge before the week is over?
ooh.
Because Frostpunk, I mean, you gave it a shot, you determined it was too hard, you failed a few times, and you'll resume another time. I mean, I don't even blame you because that game just sounds rough. So, what's your next thing?
Let's say by next podcast, I am going to. Dude, I don't even know because I don't know what my next game is. I'm playing Animal Crossing. How about this? I beat Blasphemous, or I try to beat Blasphemous.
Yeah, that sounds like a fair bet. Because, yeah, Animal Crossing, you're going to want to play daily, like, hands down.
Yeah.
But, like, as long as you're not cheating with the time travel, like, you will find, like, oh, wait, I'll play this for a few hours, and then I'll just move on to something else. So,
Yeah.
try to get through Blasphemous. It should be kind of short because it's just, like, an indie game side-scroller. But it's hard, so we don't know.
Yeah. But
Well, you want to give me a challenge? Like maybe I should beat Doom? Because I didn't, you know how I said I'll beat it by Resident Evil? I didn't play any more of it.
Doom. You have to beat Doom by next episode. You're already like halfway through.
Yeah, I'm probably over halfway. So that's doable. I'll try to beat Doom.
Beat Doom. All right. Sounds good.
And on that note, everybody, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Dark Mode Podcast or /Dark Mode Podcast. Email us or text Keegan, apparently, questions.
Yeah. My number.
Get out of here with that. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for the notifications. I think we got one subscriber today. I got an email notification. That, you know how we know we didn't get a lot? Because I didn't know that they emailed you for subscribers. So I haven't turned that setting off yet. But given that we don't get a ton right now, I might want to keep it on. So I'll do a little celebration every time. But do all that stuff.
Stay safe out there. Smash them buttons and hit us up and spread the word if you like this podcast a lot and you want to tell your coworkers about it, your friends about it. Do it. We really enjoy doing this, and we hope you guys enjoy the shows, and hope you guys are staying safe out there.
For sure. Wash some hands.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. Later.